Hi. My question today is about children. I have young children who as I learn more, want to have them become more knowledgeable and follow the same path. And I'm wondering
more knowledgeable of what?
Of, source energy and just becoming more aware of how to live life so that they can experience more joy. And what's the best way to involve your children in this, to educate them in this, as well as there's obviously resistance to that.
How so?
When they bring up the subject to other people, they may find resistance, whether it's another family member or possibly a friend. And so
living life happily ever after is frowned upon in your culture? Being all that you were born to be is frowned upon? Using your intuitive senses and letting the power of that which you were born to be reflect out into the fullness of this moment in time, uplifting others and assisting them in doing the same, that's not going over big in your environment? Is that what you're saying? The good news is they're all closer to knowing that than their parents are. In other words, they all remember. They are always trying to get you to be less specifically bothered about things and to step back into a more general place of knowing well-being. What are their ages?
10, 9, 7, and 4. And the 4-year-old lives within the vortex, trust me. But the 10-year-old struggles.
So, have you noticed that you can't observe a discordant moment without feeling the discord within yourself, and that then your power of influence is puny? You have nothing to give them. So let's just start by saying you can't teach when you're out of the vortex, and you can't teach with your words either. Strange that we offer so many, isn't it? Because words don't teach. It's only life experience that teaches. So you must demonstrate, if you're wanting them to really get it, something that even though they may be hearing otherwise, they're witnessing something all around them as far as you're concerned, or as far as their awareness of you is. So you just want to demonstrate your alignment to them, yes?
Yes.
So is this conversation because sometimes you witness things that cause you to not be in alignment? Because we can feel a little circular thing going on. Abraham, I've got these kids and I really want to be in the vortex, but they often cause me to get out of the vortex. So could you teach me how to keep them in the vortex so it'd be easier for me to be in the vortex?
That'd be great.
That's sort of exactly what you were saying. Exactly what you were saying. And you're not unlike a lot of other people, because it does feel better when what you're observing just naturally feels better. And in some ways, we've got to give this to you. Hear it. We're only going to give it to you once. Now we'll give it to you over and over again. That is the path of least resistance. It is nice to hang around with nice people, because when you're hanging around with nice people, they're nice. You feel nice. It's easier for you to be in alignment with who you are when what you're observing makes it easy. But it also can cause you to develop a dependency on something that you can't do, which is to control their niceness, you see. You can't control anybody's niceness, but you can inspire niceness from your place of niceness. So the trick is, it's not a trick, it's a skill. How can I, as a parent, stay in the vortex or stay in alignment with who I am when I'm observing otherwise? As a parent, one of the things that trips you up more than all other things put together is you care about how your children are seen in the world. You want them to behave. You want them to represent you well. We know you want them to be happy, but you want them to be understood. You want them to understand. You want them to be perceived in a positive way, because you have shown yourself through your own experience that when you behave in a pleasing way, pleasingness comes back to you. But there's a trap in it. Have you noticed? Have you noticed that if you're running around trying to stand on your head in all kinds of different ways in order to please that one and that one and that one and that one and that one, what's the first thing that begins to happen? You begin to feel resentment, because you are sacrificing what you've put into your vortex. You're sacrificing all that you've become in order to please that one and that one and that one and that one and that one. And now you're trying to teach that to your kids, you see. So we know There are a lot of people out there that are holding tight to those principles, that are not wanting anyone to understand that they create their own reality. But do you know who most wants you to not believe that you create your own reality? Think about it. Who does not want you to know that you create your own reality? Those who need you to be different so that they can feel better because they haven't figured out how to create their own reality. In other words, they don't know how to line up with source energy. They're freaked out if you have a religious difference. They're freaked out if you have a political difference. They're freaked out if you think anything different than they do. You're constantly asking for each other's agreement, but you ask for the agreement of others from your place of insecurity because you're trying to replace the agreement that you have between who you really are with some agreement that's far less, you see. Now that was a lot of basis that we gave you there, but we just wanted so much for you to understand that you don't want your kids to behave. You want to be all right whether they do or not. You don't want to control your kids. You want to feel good whether you can control them or not. And the sooner that you discover that you can't control them, but you can control your response to them, then the more solidly you'll be in your grid, the greater your power of influence, and the more they'll begin to understand that they can live a wonderful life too, just like you do. You see.